Hey mamas, welcome to the Mom on Point podcast. I'm Valen. I will be your host every Tuesday. This is a fun, safe space where we can discuss motherhood in all its complexity. This includes loss, friendship, mental health, wellness, parenting, marriage, and as a postpartum doula, the postpartum period, and also identities. Throughout our lives, and especially motherhood, we experience so many identity shifts and changes, and I think we need more conversations surrounding the hard stuff, the things that matter most. And some of those things are really uncomfortable and no one likes to talk about it, but I do. So download this episode, play it in the car while doing errands or just hanging out at home. And I hope you enjoy this episode. Let's dive in. Hey guys, I'm so happy you're here today. I kind of wanted to talk about providers, like OB providers, midwives, things like that. How to choose them, how to know when to change if you're not comfortable, especially after loss. When you have a pregnancy loss, any type of pregnancy loss, you have a level of anxiety and fear that you need to be able to quiet a little bit with having the right provider, somebody who understands you and what you're going through, being supported in ways that you need. And if I've learned anything, my 2 pregnancies after my loss, um, it's to really listen to your gut. So I'm going to go into my story a little bit, and then we'll kind of talk more about it. So, because of the whole fiasco, once we realized that Evelyn had died, um, and my provider, my midwife, coerced me into having a vaginal birth instead of getting a C-section like I asked repeatedly. My choice was taken from me, and I am still mad about that. I will always be mad about that. There was absolutely no foundation for it. They told me that their reasoning for it was that I'm fat and that C-sections are harder on big girls and it's a harder healing time, all these things. One, I'm a postpartum doula. A lot of my clients have C-sections. Like, I know what it's like. I am with women after they have C-sections and have to be taken care of. Like, I understand the complications and the risks. I've taken birth classes. I've done these things, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a medical provider, but I'm a woman who has studied this type of thing. And the fact that on any old day somebody can go and get a scheduled C-section because it's convenient, and I wasn't able to get one, so I didn't have to sit for 10 more hours with my dead baby in my belly because I'm bigger, is shit. Like, I will always be angry about that. And then Emmett's birth, I originally started out at the same place where I gave birth for Evelyn, at the pavilion, and I refused to see the doctor, the midwife that I had previously. I never made an appointment with her. I had somebody different, and I really liked her. But I couldn't get over this feeling in my gut that I didn't want to be there, and I just couldn't be there anymore. All this, it was traumatic. It's triggering. It's like deja vu. Like, I'm pregnant with a different baby, but yet I'm in the same place, the same provider office, the same, I just, I couldn't do it. So at about, it was between 30 and 32 weeks, or maybe 32 and 34, something like that. I switched to a birth center, and thankfully, they took me that late, but I just needed to do this in a calmer space, calmer for me in my brain, quieter, new environment that didn't have bad memories, things like that. And it was probably the greatest birth and experience of my life. um, it was the first time I didn't have an epidural or any drugs, things like that. Um, I didn't have to be induced. Like, I started having contractions around 11 p.m. We left the house at 12:30. Me, John, and all the kids. That was one of the things, is that my girls, Callie, especially my oldest, wanted to be there. She didn't want to be left out because she didn't get to come see her sister. Because honestly, I didn't know it was an option. It's not something that I thought about. Um, so my girls wanted to be there, and this was during COVID, right? So September 2020, um, and they told me that was fine. They would just have to wear masks, which was fine. But anyways, back to the story. We got to the birth center about 1:30, and I don't know if I can't even remember how quick it was, but it felt so quick. The pain sucked, yes, but it was manageable, especially with my doula Kendra, who was amazing. Um, so invaluable, really. She gets me. she doesn't take shit from me even when I'm in labor. Like, she refocuses me and calms me. And he was born in the tub in the birth center, and it was just so quick and wonderful, and he was alive, which was the best part. And I couldn't have asked for a better experience, especially after having a loss. um I don't know if most of you know this. I'm pregnant. I'm 18 weeks right now with our very last baby. For my body, it's 5 babies, and I just don't think I can expand anymore. But I realize I'm at this OB practice right now, and I've had nothing but shitty service. I feel like I'm just a number, and as cliche as that sounds, like, I had to reschedule to get my blood drawn or something because um it didn't work the first time with the genetic testing or something. They couldn't get enough DNA. That's what it was. They couldn't get enough DNA out of the sample. So I had to go in again, which is completely inconvenient for me, especially because right now we only have one car and I have my kids, or Emmett. I had Emmett and, yeah, all of them. So I go in again, and the doctor comes in and she's like, "Okay, why are we here?" Like, and she's like, "Oh, it's a retest." "Oh, I don't know why I kept you this long. I can just go get her," and then just left. It was like, and that's not the only time this has happened. Like, I see the OB like maybe 2 or 3 minutes max. And I don't feel comfortable expressing all my concerns because I don't think she's actually listening. And then it's just like one of those things, like, I don't feel good here. I canceled my appointment today because I just didn't want to go. And when it comes to being able to go to an ultrasound or a doctor's OB appointment, and I would rather not do that. Like, I would rather not go see my baby than have to be around the provider. That sucks. And I mean, to be honest, I threw a hissy fit a few times because they don't take your time seriously either. And I'm not talking everybody, my provider currently and my nurses and stuff. Like, I came with Emmett and it was already stressful. He's never been in an office setting with me, like where he's just had to like kind of hang out. And um, as a 2-year-old man, you're just wanting to jump around. So I let him jump on the couches and stuff, which was fine. There was like one person in there and they didn't care. But I waited like 45 minutes in the waiting room. I didn't even get brought back to a room. And then when they finally called me, it had been over an hour. And then I don't know, another 30 minutes goes by and it's like already an hour past my appointment time. And I get that people have babies. I get the doctors get busy. things change, all of that. But if I was 10 minutes late to my appointment, they would cancel. But yet here I am waiting an hour and a half past my appointment time, and they do not care. Or they just, it's what it is. I'm sorry. No. Like, so I want you guys to really feel into the provider that you're with. Unfortunately, my insurance that I have now doesn't cover birth centers or home births, which really, really frustrates me. I really wanted to do a free birth, but then because of my loss, there's always that hindering intrusive thought like something could go wrong. Um, so it's really hard when you're choosing a provider. Just remember that you don't have to stay there. Um, there are always choices. Even if there's two or three of them and you have to try all of them out, just do it. Make sure that this person is a positive light in your birth space. Because honestly, the reason I don't like hospitals, like birth wise, now that I've had a different experience with the birth center, is that it's not very personal. Yet this is the most personal part of our entire life. We are literally birthing a human out of us. And these people are going to be around watching and influencing us with their behaviors and their emotions and their attitudes. And it can become a really toxic environment if you don't have people that you want in your space. So even if you're at 36 weeks and you refuse, or you just don't like your provider, you don't feel cared for, you don't feel safe, find a provider that will take you. Find a birth center that will take you. There is absolutely no reason in our day and age where you should have to suffer with whoever you have. When I talk about hospitals and not being personal, it's like you go to these providers, and sometimes these offices have like 5, 6, 7, 8 OBs, and you have to see all of them. All of them. Just in case you give birth and the one, like say you only had one and the only one that you saw was not there on the day you had to give birth. So now you have a stranger, next to a stranger. I mean, depending on how many times you've seen all the providers, but a stranger nonetheless. And you're only seeing them when you're pushing out the baby. I I really always question, I'm like, why can't the nurses get certified to be the birth giver, like the birth helpers? Like they are there the entire time. At least in that amount of time that they've been with us, they know our pain. They know what we can handle. They can get a sense for who we are and how they can help us better. Like, there's so much about our medical system that is just not okay. And I am still learning that for myself and learning how to advocate for myself. Hopefully, one day, once I get that down, I can advocate for other people. But in the meantime, I can use this platform to help you guys realize that you are allowed to change your mind about a provider. As I was just on the phone with the new provider that I want, and I'm like, she's like, okay, and then just have your office fax us all your records, and then their process is that you send over your records, and all the clinicians will look over it and see if they want to take you on, which is fine because if not, I'll just find somebody else. But um, I was so like, I'm so nervous to call my provider because I don't want to explain why I don't want to be there anymore. I don't want to explain myself. I don't want to deal with the attitudes that I get with like the secretaries. It is so stressful and anxiety ridden, and it shouldn't be that way. So, if you're pregnant after loss and you just needed that extra push or permission Not that you need it, but this is your permission slip to go and change your provider if you need to. Make sure you feel safe and cared for, and that you feel safe voicing your opinions and how you're feeling, and you're asking all the questions that you want to ask without feeling like you're like you're an inconvenience. And find a provider that you can call when you feel like something is wrong, no matter what. I know a lot of women who, like me too, um, they're there for a reason. And if you feel just anything wrong, call no matter what. Even if it's 3 times in one night, call. It is your body, it's your baby, it's your life. And it is so important. It truly is. So that is my little spiel for today. Um, I really like to talk about things that I'm going through in the moment, or, that week or that month, because it's something that I know, right? I'm there, I'm in it right now. And I know other women are too. So I hope you guys have a wonderful week. I hope that if you're pregnant after loss, that you're having a beautiful pregnancy. And if you've lost a baby but haven't had a rainbow baby, or don't want to, or can't, I love you and I'm here for you and I support you in any way I can. Um, just know that you are all loved and you are all worthy. And I'll see you guys next week, okay? Thank you so much for joining me with the Mom on Point podcast. I hope you found some inspiration, some joy, maybe some new information that can help you heal, feel better, or just get through the day. If you've loved the podcast, please like and comment and let me know what you think. I read and respond to all comments personally, and it really helps others discover me who may need my message too. You can also find me on Instagram at ValenWeb. You can email me at info.valenweb@gmail.com. Again, that's info.vallenwebb@gmail.com. Or you can check out my website where I have tons of free resources and freebies at valenweb.com. I look forward to hearing from you. I'll add all these things on the show notes. Feel free to check them out anytime. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next Tuesday.